And we are back. So now I had to go ahead and end part one because it was about to get a little too steamy for the people. Now, where we left off was Mishell was like, okay, so whose body is it anyway? So we were talking about honestly letting go of all this control when you're in the before and you're trying to conceive and you're literally doing everything yourself and you're relying on nothing and nobody but yourself trying to make this happen. So the truth is, okay, because a part of this process is finding out the truth. The truth is your body is not your own, okay? Your body is not your own, okay? 1 Corinthians 6:19. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought with a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies.
Come on.
That's not Ashley. That's Bible. That ain't Mishell. That's Bible. So, Mishell, I want you to go ahead and, just dig into that where you were about to start talking about how you had to die.
Yes. So, like I said before, we all have a promise from God. And for me, God was speaking to me one day and he had told me, hey, I'm going to give you a daughter. And it happened to be, I'm a visual person, it happened to be a little girl that was standing far off, and he was like, look up. He was like, I'm going to give you a daughter, and she's going to favor her. Just meaning she was a little mixed girl. And so I was like, what in the world? And so I knew that I heard the Lord. And I was like, I'm going to tell somebody because I'm going to put some faith to this. So I told one of my girlfriends, I was like, the Lord just told me this right now. And she was like, what? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Now, mind you, I wasn't married. I didn't have no boo. I didn't have nothing. I just had a word. I had a promise. Okay. And so fast forward, me and baby Bubba start having babies. And the first twins.
Hold on, you skipped a part. So you looked up and saw a little mixed girl. The people don't know that you are in an interracial relationship. Yes. So you end up marrying a white man.
Yes, he is white.
Let me tell you, God is so into the details.
He is. He cares. And he, all we have to do is have a heart that's surrendered. And honestly, there's a lot acting foolish, and he was like, hey baby, you chose him, boo boo. So
hold on. Oh, there we go. We're back. Your computer went off a little bit.
Was I am I good now?
You're good now. Now. Okay, so let's talk about when you got pregnant and you had your twins.
Yes.
Praise the Lord. Twin boys.
Yes, amazing. I was so thankful. We were so thankful, everything like that or whatever. And there was all these things in between that can be for another time, because there are a lot of things about when you actually have your children and how you have to steward your children. That's the biggest thing. God gives us promises, but the biggest part of why we don't get the promise yet is because in the time frame that it's taking to get the promise, he's trying to teach you how to steward what you're going to get.
Listen, because I think I said this in the two testimony Tuesdays ago now, that when you're going through this, everything that you're supposed to be learning, you're going to need for those kids, because not only is your body not your own, but those kids don't just belong to you. They belong to the Father first. And so we have a responsibility as parents to raise those children how God wants us to raise them, not how we want, not how Mama and them raised us. Yep. Not what we're used to seeing. And guess what? That takes work. Work. Even now, there are things, and I don't want to get too far into it because we'll talk about that in the after.
Mm-hmm.
But there are things that, Darian and I have to do for Caden that maybe we have not seen growing up. And we literally having to stop and pause and say, okay, God, wait a minute. What are we supposed to do about this? Because we don't want to do what we've seen before, but we need to raise this girl and this little boy, praise God for our 2 miracle babies. We need to raise them how you need them to be raised, because ultimately, guess what? You're only responsible for them in the 18 years that you have them, and then they have to go out and they have to live their adult life.
Mm-hmm.
What is your child's adult life going to look like, when they're not on you, when they're not when they're an adult? So we have to look at, I have to know that one day Caden is going to be an adult, and I don't want how I raise her now in these first 18 years. I don't want them to negatively impact her, or guess what? I don't want her to have to unlearn stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not to say, you make mistakes as parents. We all do make mistakes,
Right.
but and it's not to say that your kid won't be okay in adulthood. But here's the thing: they may have to unlearn some stuff, and they may have to go through all this counseling and everything else. Guess what? I want to spare my kid that.
I know,
I
that's
want
right.
to spare my kid that.
Yeah.
Anything that I can do to make sure that she doesn't have to backtrack, because I raised her how I wanted to raise her and not how God needed me to raise her. And so you're right. This is a lesson. One of the lessons is about stewardship.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you this, Mishell, in pregnancy, because one of the things that we talked about last episode was there's so much that women don't know about as far as like the body is concerned. What are some of the changes that your body went through that you were like, whoa, wait a minute?
Yes.
Had no idea.
Yes. Like, so last time I was telling y'all about how I came to the realization that I had an eating disorder. And let me explain that, because some people are like, okay, they go to anorexic or bulimia, something like that. No, those are disorders too. That's not the one I suffer from. But what I suffered from was just malnutrition, straight up. I mean, I had bad habits of eating junk food, like binging on junk food, binging on healthy food. And my hormones, as we know, I already had cysts in my ovaries, so that lets you know that your hormone imbalance is all over the place when you have those type of issues going on. So I really needed to be eating a healthier diet, and a diet that was gonna give me a full nutrition to be able to carry the children. Because I will tell you this, when them boys came out of my body, I could not breastfeed. No milk came in. I had no vitamins. I lost so much hair. Like, my hair has not been the same since I've had all my kids. And this is real. This is like this this is real. And not everybody has twins, but people who have one, they still. I have friends who have had one, and it's like, I'm only having one because their pregnancy was so traumatic and hard for them, on their bodies, on their psyche, on all kinds of things. And of course, when they were trying and everything, they weren't thinking about any of this stuff, and when things come, you need to have some strategies in your arsenal already to be able to attack them. For me, after they came, I did not realize how toxic my mind was when it came to body image. I had no idea, because I had a structure that I liked, that I felt like my husband liked for so long. And then I knew it was going to change, but in my mindset, I was like, oh, that's nothing. I can just, work out and get back to where I want to be. And that's just going to be that. And the thing is, it was so much deeper, because it wasn't, projected as this is beauty. And as we see it now, women are more verbal about, even breastfeeding and pictures of their stretch marks and things like that. And they're bringing it out. And kudos to them, because they feel confident and comfortable in what they have. But at the end of the day, the fact is that all of us as women have an image of what we think looks best, but we have to let the Holy Spirit transform that. And it is a process. It don't happen overnight. Well, like I said, when they came out, my skin, my stomach hit the floor. And this is the crazy part. My twins and my next son are 13 months apart. So my uterus was so big because I had two babies, and my structure was so small that it took a longer time for it to shrink. It still was shrinking, and I got pregnant again because, now this is the other thing, wisdom, timing, wisdom, planning, they're important. You know, there are you get married and you're in covenant and you, oh my gosh, surprise, we're pregnant, because obviously sex can lead to pregnancy. But there is wisdom that I would suggest, you know, that if a mama don't tell a daughter that's about to get married, or, you know, let them know, like, these things are important, because sometimes your body isn't even ready to handle the part of carrying the life. And then when I was pregnant, gosh, like I got put on bed rest. And so when I got put on bed rest, it was just kind of like, I'm here, you know, and you got all these hormones going through you got all this stuff going through your mind.
Why did you get put on bed rest?
I got put on bed rest because I started having contractions too early. I can't remember exactly when, maybe like 25 weeks or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the thing is the reason why is because, back to the eating disorder, my bone density was horrible. And let me tell y'all, after every child, I had to have a root canal, because so much of my calcium was sucked from these children. Like, it's not just you popping out babies and everything. Like, it's wonderful.
So for women who've never heard of this, you know, I've heard of women losing teeth in pregnancy because the baby, literally, I mean, you're like an incubator. I mean, honestly, I mean, that may sound a little harsh, but that baby is literally taking everything that he or she needs from you. And so these are things definitely not to scare you, but things that you need to know what to pray for, what to pray against.
Yes, and prepare yourself. Be aware, like, take care of your temple, like we were saying. Eat right, you know, talk to your doctor about all that stuff. And if you do get pregnant, you know, just make sure that is something. It literally is.
When you get pregnant.
Yes, when you get pregnant. Your body, your soul, your spirit, all of three of those things, they have to be fed, and they have to be fed. We always need to be fed, but I'm gonna tell you, when you pregnant or you are in that process and you are carrying a child, they have to be fed extra, and you got to do whatever you can to get it in you. Like, I remember sitting down and I would just play the word in my head when my twins were on the ground playing, hollering, fighting, and everything, just to stay sane as I was carrying another child that I actually was mad at God for giving me. Which, how dare you, right? How dare you? You had a miscarriage. Like, you, there's other people who are, you know, they want children so bad and everything else. And at this point, I was like, no, why would you do this to me, God? I can't even take care of these. I can't feed them. Like, I can't, And the Lord's just like, you're going to trust me? Let's do the trust test again.
Let's run it back.
Yeah. You didn't get it. You didn't get it all the way.
Yo, you just said something so powerful. Like, this is definitely in the after. Let's go there for just a second.
Okay.
When you talk about, here you are, you've had twins and now you're pregnant again. And you're like, you're not ready for this. I ain't asking for this right now. And the first thing you think about is, how am I going to feed these children? So here we go, going back again. You trying to control every little thing. You see, if you don't get a hold of that thing in the before, it's going to follow you during.
Come on.
And in the after. You understand? This is why it's important. You have to stop thinking that you are the person who are in control of everything. You're the person who who has the last say, that it's you, and that you don't have the helper.
Come on.
You know, I can't say I was regretful when I got pregnant with my second child, but I was certainly shocked. I was like, whoa, I just had a baby. Wait a minute, just didn't think that, it would happen that soon.
Mm-hmm.
And even the conversation now is, you're gonna have any more, and the answer is, in my mind, I would like another one. But I need a break. Okay, so during, because we have to get ready to wrap this episode up.
Mm-hmm.
I will say something, some of the things that happened to me during my pregnancy. So going to the first pregnancy, a lot of people, said that, oh, you're going to have all this morning sickness. And, kind of said, oh, I was sick the whole time. Or, for me, that was not something that I was willing to come into agreement with. And so it was something actually that I had been praying about in the before. I had diligently sought the Lord and believed that I was not going to have a miserable pregnancy and that I would not be sick every day. And I was not. So with my second pregnancy, I was put on maternity leave at 19 weeks, I believe, because of my SI joint. So this is something that I think that, women, you're in the before, you need to be praying against this.
Yeah.
I did not know. So when your hips begin to spread, that's why they call them baby making hips, because when you become pregnant, everything begins to spread down there because your hips, they have to spread to get ready for that baby to come out. It has to spread. Well, what happened in my second pregnancy was the joint that kind of connects like the hips and the back, that SI joint back there, it loosened up like really bad, like really loose. And so every time I would walk, the joints were supposed to do this. When I would walk, one of them was getting stuck, so it wasn't moving. And so it would be like this horrible pain in my back. And I'm just like, oh my God. And of course, at the time, still teaching, and I was teaching at a really big school at that time. Like it was like a mini college campus. And so ultimately my doctor was like, okay, yeah, let's sit it on down. I was in physical therapy. At one point, I was on a boot and my back was hurt, and I'm just around here like just so much. And so one of the things that I would definitely say pray for, pray for all of your muscles and your joints while you are pregnant, because everything is moving and change like that. Literally the baby does not really care about your body, your hurts, your pains. Like the baby's trying to make sure that he or she grows there, so
right.
Our bodies go through everything to make sure that baby is comfortable, make sure that baby is growing. So you want to cover your muscles and your joints
and your blood flow.
And your blood flow. Thank you. Begin to just declare that you will not be in any pain in your pregnancy, that your joints and your muscles will still spread and do what they need to do, but that you will not be in any pain. Pray for what it is that you want. And another thing that I developed, I was telling Mishell, never heard of this before a day in my life before I started experiencing. And at first I just thought I was going crazy. Honestly, I really did. So I started, y'all. So we have a little Shih Tzu. His name is Oreo. And we have had Oreo. I hope I don't start crying. We have had Oreo for 8-9 years. Like he's been a part of the family. He was with us like when Darian and I were actually dating. We got him like a year into us dating. So he's been with us 9 years. And y'all, I promise you, when I got pregnant with Braden, somewhere along the second trimester, when I would look at Oreo, I would get mad. Like just mad. And I'm talking like y'all, Oreo is so cute. Cute little black and white, gray looking dog. Like he's only like 14, 15 pounds. I mean, the cutest little dog you probably ever see. But every time I looked at him, I got mad. And as the days went by, when he would sneeze, the sound of it, would drive me up a wall. If he came up to me and attempted to lick me, oh, that was it. That was it. So I didn't know what was going on at first. I learned later that I had developed a dog aversion where I just hated dogs. I did not want to be around dogs. I couldn't stand the smell. I didn't want to hear them lick. Oh my God, the licking sound. I'm ready to fight. Like, please don't be around me. If I hear Oreo licking, I was ready to fight. I was so mad. Listen, it's a real thing. Like, I researched it because I was like, somebody better tell me what is going on with me. And sure enough, after I had Braden, went away. Like, went away just like that. Like, we had to rehome our dog while I was pregnant, and he's actually still with our in-laws. Like, because I could not take it. And so it's just honestly something else to pray for in the pregnancy, praying for your hormones, guys, because they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I'm going to say this. I'm going to make sure, Mishell, that you say whatever last words you want to say. I'm going to recommend a book that I've read so often. Before I was pregnant and while I was pregnant, I listened to it. Supernatural Childbirth by Jackie Mize. There are prayers in there, things that you wouldn't think to pray about. She tell you to pray about them. Like, I read that book so much. And, you don't have to use that one, but there are other books about it. But you definitely need to know some of the things that people may not tell you that happens in pregnancy. It happens in pregnancy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anything you want to add, girl? Because I know we got to wrap it up.
So good. You know what? That little part, I will add to that little part because I know my mama gonna watch this. And there was a sweet lady. She goes to the Rock, and her name is Natasha. And when I came to the church, my mom was like, Mishell, Natasha had natural births, and she believes that you need to be. She had read these books, and you need to be confessing XYZ. And I was like, okay, mama. And I just never took it serious. I knew I could pray and have what I said. It wasn't that. It was just the fact of doing the research for that part and then telling myself that this is actually that important. And so I'm standing right now. That was 9 years ago. But it is really important to do that work, the mental work that you can educate yourself spiritually and, physically educate yourself about your body and everything, because it ain't no joke. Right. It's beautiful.
Things. The body really can do amazing things. So you're watching this, your homework. Yes, I'm giving you homework. Y'all know I'm a teacher. Your homework is to go and do some research about what pregnancy looks like. So again, you know what to pray for and what to pray against. One of the things I know that Jackie Mize talks about is a natural childbirth. Out of her children, I think she has 4, and 3 of them were all supernatural childbirths where she didn't feel any pain, and her labor and delivery extremely quick. I'm talking about an hour, maybe. So it's possible, it's just a matter of what you decide to partner your faith with. So that is your homework, ladies. Do some research, go read a book, or go and ask a woman who you trust, hey, what are some of the things that you went through in pregnancy? And that way, guys, you know what you can start praying for or praying against. And I think I said in one of my previous videos that I had a chart. It was like a diagram of a baby. And I wrote this stuff down, guys. Like, I wrote down exactly what I was believing for in a child. And when I tell you I got everything down to the dimple. I asked God for a dimple, and he gave me a dimple in both of my kids. I only asked for one. He gave them both. Like, I'm just telling you just how specific you can be in your prayers about your body and about your baby. So that's that. We're going to continue these conversations talking about the during and the after. I have a feeling that probably going to go live one of these Good Tuesdays, because I think this conversation, it just can keep going. But in the meantime, thank you, guys. Thank you, Mishell.
You girl. Thank you. Looking out.
Coming through and blessing the people. Okay, y'all have a great day, and we will talk soon. We'll talk next week. Bye, guys.